Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
The movie Armed. Is this your first on-screen collaboration together for both of you? How was that experience?
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome from the first time we met to talk about the film, which is how I met Mario for the first time. My then manager, who's since retired from the business, but was both of our manager, called me up and said he had a client, and Mario Van Peebles, love him, has a script that he's directing, would love to have you see it. And I said, great, pass it on, I want to read it. He said, well, actually, he wants to meet you first, and then give you the script. So I was like, oh, it's kind of reversed, sure. So we got together, and after we sat and had coffee, I was halfway there to wanting to do it, and then I read it and got about halfway through the script and called him and said for sure. So it is our first time.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think sometimes it's like in life you meet people for the first time that you feel you've known before, and this is just this time around. So it's kind of like meeting a brother who's, he's clearly, we're new to each other, but not new to life or this life, and he's also a filmmaker, and he's, he sort of gets the joke of cinema and of life, and so that's nice when you can have a very simple conversation about complex subject matter, and he can bring a depth and a soul to it that I really wanted to see and feel, and also could be a dangerous cat too. do you know what I mean? So I wanted Chief's friend, or Chief's, the person that you sort of is grounding him in some ways, to be someone that could be an awesome friend and a very formidable opponent if needed to be, and so that you kind of going, wait a minute, it could go this way, it could go that way.
When Hollywood tackles the mentally ill themes, they either give us something like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or Girl Interrupted, or either that or Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, and that's something that this movie or the character Chief reminds me a lot of. Was that what you're going for with this movie?
Well, here's the thing. Without being a spoiler, a lot of the film plays from Chief's sort of internal lens. We talked about the concept of perception, that in the Book of the Dead, that if people have near-death experiences, they tend to see what they believe. So if I'm Christian, I tend to see Christ. If I'm Buddhist, I see Buddha. And kids that are not indoctrinated to any sort of religion see fuzzy animals or the white light, or whatever we need to see to help us transition. But that lens of how we see things is equally important, if not more important, in life. And that in life, there'll always be the isms: sexism, racism, lookism, classism. But what do I see? And so I wanted this notion that the lens through which we see the movie is Chief's lens. And Chief is just self-proclaimed good guy. So unlike Travis Bickle, where you see it a little bit from the outside, you see this sort of dangerous cat, with Chief, you sort of experience him from the inside. And so from his point of view, man, people are doing this stuff to him, and what's going on? And so you're the first 2 acts of the movie, you're going to be going, what the heck is going on with this movie, right? Is it a barbershop flick? No. Is it the guys show up and things go wrong? It's a conspiracy flick, and then that sort of goes away. So you sort of see it through Chief's vision, which is a little different, and I think that's why people are saying it's an interesting portrayal of someone who's dealing with mental illness, because from their point of view, they're right, they're reasonable, they're the ones encouraging the guy to put the gun down. He's the one telling his team to put the gun down, and his perception is just what it is. And so I wanted the equal counterpart in someone like Richard that actually really realized is probably one of the more grounded, saner characters in the movie, and perhaps Chief's only real friend right there.
Last question. What do you hope the audiences will take away with regards to the film's addressing the Second Amendment? Is it pro, contra, for, against?
Well, here's the thing. Crazy is not just being crazy, it's doing the same thing each time, expecting a different result. And we've been saying thoughts and prayers, and it hasn't stopped mass shootings. We had people in the movie who were on all sides of the gun issue, but we're not doing enough as America, and it's something unique to America, right, Bill? I mean, something.
No doubt.
So I think making people think before the midterms, entertain them, you know, make them think, and not tell them what to think, but giving them something than just another, you know, Superman cape crusader flick, you know, an alternative that go, hey, I can be entertained, I can see something, say, I can see Bill Fichtner, and I can see Mario, and I can see, you know, stuff coming out of his head. And think a little bit.
I also hope that, and I certainly felt this from the very first time I read the script, that, and I do believe that people will take away from this. We all have unique journeys in that we live in our own space. It's different than the world sees us. It's different than our wives and children see us because we live that life. We worry about the things, we think about the things, we love the things that really you can't, there isn't enough time in a whole lifetime to express all of those things that pass through us. To watch the journey of the character of Chief and where his life is at and how Mario has put that together in 2 hours to share that much of one person's journey. And the part that I play of Richard, just this incredible person that just truly loves him but just can't take it anymore, but has to, and sometimes is forced, like he is in this movie, to deal with his old friend one more time. That alone, on top of anything else that the film has to say or touches on, is a really beautiful journey, and is worth seeing for that performance.
And back at you, but what's also interesting is film that makes you discern. Film that is not just black or white or good or bad, but there's complexities. That your best friend can have something that's good for you, or you see as that point good for you and not. That life is in fact complex, and to try to simplify it is reductive. So aside from the question of what we do about easy access to guns, weapons of war, and easy access to medication, and that being a toxic mix, just as human beings, this is a film that's multi-culti, and yet it's not about race. It's about humanity.
Well, yes, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on Armed.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man. Nice to meet you.